So Dory and I, along with Ellie, Ben, and Whit, want to thank everyone for joining us today on this occasion. We love Craig. Are thrilled to be getting an amazing son-in-law. We've loved the time spent getting to know him over the last almost two years, as well as the time spent with Steve and Lauren, and Aaron and Jill, Adam and Brittany, wherever you are. And we welcome you to our family just as we've felt so welcome to yours. Everyone here today has played a role in the lives of Craig or Sophie, and we're honored by your presence and appreciate the effort and expense that you have made to get here. All right, to start, I feel like I need to say this. Let me just lower everyone's expectations here for a second. This could and probably will be ugly. So if anybody thinks, oh, I'm going to record this and put it on YouTube, I will hunt you down. I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want. Wait. There's nothing to hide here. I want to savor every emotion of this day.
Me too.
So I built in. Thank you. I built in a couple jokes to sort of rescue myself more than anything here. To say I've been looking forward to this day for a long time would be a massive lie. I've been dreading it, but not because I don't want Sophie to be married, but because I don't want to have to stand up here in front of you and hold on, page turn. This one's so much better in my bedroom. I don't want to have to stand up here in front of you and pour out my heart about Fifi, which is a name. Oh, my worst. Which is a name we've called her since about day 2. That's our name for her, not yours though. I don't know why I said that. Okay, often if I have to speak publicly about something that's important to me, or it's on the emotion side of the ledger, I will. I have this little trick that I use. I get my mind right by getting my mind very wrong. Meaning, I'll probably do something to get my emotions in a place as a way just to keep myself in check, so I don't do what I've already done a couple times. But not today. Today, I want you to. I want you to get a feel for the depth of my love for this girl. And so if it goes badly, you get the real stuff. Maybe not, I don't know. Yes, you're getting the real stuff right now. Okay, I'm kind of stalling here. Sophie, I have to start by saying, you predicted this would be probably the worst part of it. That was prearranged. I have to start by saying you will be a great wife and partner to Craig. After all, you have learned from the very best. Dory is like, this is one of the jokes that I built in here. Dory, this is so lame. Dory is like the Chuck Norris of wives and moms. She is the best there is. I don't know, Chuck Norris for some reason feels like a really high bar. When Dory called me at work on November 17th, way back in the 20th century, and told me that she was deep into labor with Sophie, I could just sense it was going to be a big change for our little family of 3. We got to Georgetown Hospital at 9:05, and by 9:40, Sophie had busted her way into the world. And from there, it felt like Sophie never slowed down. Where's Ellie? She was crawling at 6 months, gleefully terrorizing Ellie, who was potty training at the time. And she walked at 10 months, gleefully terrorizing Dory and me, who were still recovering from Sophie terrorizing Ellie back when she was potty training. It was a reign of sweet terror. Sophie had one speed, fast. She didn't walk anywhere, she ran. One time she quietly broke out of the house in Virginia. We couldn't find her inside, so I went out into the front yard to look for her. Then I saw her. She was in full Usain Bolt mode, running down the middle of the street on a blind corner, which was terrifying. But it was an example of how spirited, maybe how scary she was at times. If she went from the living room to the dining room, she ran. If she went from the kitchen to the family room, she ran. Which is more than a little ironic, because now she hates to run. She did everything with great enthusiasm. These are photos, so let's make sure my eyes are dry. Okay, when she rediscovered a toy she hadn't seen in a while, she would exclaim with sheer delight, "Ellie, the Barbie head!" I mean, she was such a lovely child. You just didn't want to turn your back on that lovely child for too long. One time in church, she told us some kid in her Sunday school class was being noisy. So she jammed some Play-Doh in her ear to block the sound, which of course hardened and got stuck. So that was a nice little discovery a few days later. Anyway, you get the point. The girl's got spirit and intensity. So watch out. Back in January, when Craig asked me to get together for lunch, I kind of knew what was coming. And I'm not the easiest person to get to know at first. I can be kind of an acquired taste. Like beer, or a gin martini, or black coffee. Eventually you love it, but it takes a little getting used to. But once you get there, you love it and you start planning your days around these things. Or me. My door is stuck. I knew Craig wanted to ask my permission to marry Sophie, but I thought the right play was to make him work for it just a little bit. After all, my father-in-law made me work for it, wherever he is. Thanks, Harold, for nothing. And of course, Craig will pass it on someday when some joker wants to marry his daughter. So after about 45 minutes of me wolfing down my meal like I'd never seen food before, he was still pushing the same French fry around to his cord, which is funny. Anyway, he finally said, actually, there's another reason. It's not like a really good impression. There's something else. There's some other reason why I wanted to have lunch with you here today. I'm like, oh really? What is it? I knew exactly what he was doing. And honestly, the food was even better. So I spent some of the time telling him all the things that I love about Sophie, the expectations I have of him. I didn't give him an answer on the spot. I knew it would be a yes. But I wanted to talk to Dory about it as well. She's my partner, and has always oozed with that Chuck Norris wisdom. Dang it! Okay. Anyway, I wanted her in on the decision. Chuck Norris is not wise, he's just like a physical guy. Anyway, a few days later, we happily said yes. I actually wrote that, and it was terrible. It's like a written joke. So for the last 23 years, this could be bad. This is not going to fall into the ugly category. For the last 23 years, I've been the main man in Sophie's life. Maybe caretaker is a better word. At least I've been the one legally responsible for her. But kids move on, as it should be. And so you've now found this beautiful, caring, gentle, appropriately sarcastic, perfectly self-deprecating, curiously tattooed. This half of the room was loud, that half of the room was perfectly silent. That was interesting. Okay. spend the rest of your life with. That's the rest of the sentence. So Craig, you are now the main man in her life. It's now your job to protect her in every way. Encourage her, celebrate her, lead her, and love her the way Jesus loved the church. And for those of you not familiar with how Jesus loved the church, I'll tell you. He willingly gave up his life for it. That is the level of commitment men should have for the women in their families. A dad for his daughter, husband for his wife. It's the same level of commitment I have for Dory, Steve has for Lauren, Robbie has for Doreen, and so on. It's total and complete commitment. There's no holding back in how you are to love Sophie. But you know all this. Steve said something similar to this, which I think was stealing my stuff. Dory and I have spent the last 23 years praying for Craig. And you. In this moment. And we have an overwhelming sense of God's pleasure today. And God is most praised when his people submit to his will. We believe this marriage is God's will. And when this day comes to an end and you get back to that awesome apartment, and your regular daily life will settle in, at some point, Craig's going to irritate you. Sophie might be moody, maybe, and on your last nerve. And it's at that moment where Christian marriage flexes its muscles. Because as C.S. Lewis said, feelings dissipate. They have to. When you come to the realization that marriage's work, it can be hard, full of the dreaded C word, compromise. But it's rescued by another C word, commitment. A successful marriage, among other things, is a commitment of the will. Our foundation in Christ makes it different. So forget the feelings, you can't trust them, embrace the commitment. So, although I gave you to Craig today, I'm still in love with you, as in love with you, and committed to you as I was on that chilly November night when you were born. All 6 pounds, 15 ounces of you. You were awesome. Just awesome. So, we're grateful for our time with just you. And now we're excited for you and Craig and watching your marriage grow and flourish. Now, okay, I'm done. So if you manage to hang on to your glass, your favorite